everyone. It's time to eat, drink, and be merry with your hosts, Lisa and Nancy.
Hey everybody, welcome to Big Blend Radio's Eat, Drink, and Be Merry show. And today we're excited to welcome back world traveler and travel writer Debbie Stone. We call her the Fire Monkey because that's what happens when you travel around the globe. People give you nicknames, and that's what happened with her. But she just recently went back to Pike Place Market in Seattle. And she is, she lived in the Pacific Northwest. She lived up in the Seattle area, and has been there quite a few times. But this time she went on a tour with the company called Show Me Seattle. And oh my gosh, you've got to check out her article. It's on blendradioandtv.com. It'll also be in our upcoming issue of Eat, Drink, and Be Merry magazine. But it's very interesting because this history of Pike Place Market, I had no idea. I've always heard about the market. Nancy and I've never been there, right, Nancy? We need to go now.
Yeah.
But it is, the history of this is fascinating. The connection between us as the consumer, or the people who want to cook and do things, and the farmer and the seamonger, the artisans as well. It's just phenomenal. And so the website, I want everyone to know this, is showmeseattle.com. I think if you're going to go to a place like this, you may want to start there first. And welcome back, Fire Monkey. But isn't that true? Go start with a tour, maybe. Welcome back.
Yes. Oh, well, thank you. So good to be here with you ladies again. And yes, I think if you're going to be up in the Seattle area, this really is, I think, one of the top things to do, because not only does it, get you to the market, which you would normally probably go to because it is such a beloved place, but it also just gives you this great, well-rounded approach to the market. And afterwards, you can kind of go explore on your own. But this really gives you a great overview, I think, especially from the food standpoint, but also, from every other standpoint that's there, whether it's from the artisan standpoint or anything else that any of the shops there. But I think it's a great tour.
What's interesting, we talk about farmers markets all the time, and going and connecting with the farmers best you can. Like, farmers markets are one of those ways. And also going to places that it's springing up across the country, these food halls. I know Albuquerque, down the road from you, or up, was it up or down or sideways? I don't know, from you in Santa Fe. There's the Sawmill food
right.
hall, that food market in Albuquerque, which we recently went to.
Wonderful.
I think that's like one of the gems of Albuquerque. I love Albuquerque, really do. But going there, you get this taste of the region, you get the taste of the land. Not only, there's some that are farmers market, but you're getting food, you're getting the local brews, your local wines. But this Pike place, what I was thinking about when I was reading an article was the importance of going on a tour. Like, when you go to these places, you get excited, you want to talk to someone, but sometimes there's lines and you don't always get to have that conversation you want to have. And maybe going on these kind of tours, you get that backstory that you want, because you don't want to, especially nowadays, with the whole COVID thing, and it's going up and down and turn around. Who knows what's going on the next day? You want the fishmonger to sell his fish and be able to make that money, basically. With a tour company going around and giving you that backstory, you don't kind of have to bug them, but you still want to have that connection, but you don't have to sit there and take their time while they need to get to the next person to sell their fish. So I was thinking this is a really good thing.
I think it is, and it's a way, it's a great way. I mean, these markets, any farmers market, but I think it's a way to really shop local, shop seasonal, shop sustainable, and get a chance to really meet with those people, with the purveyors, with the vendors, with the growers, whoever, and have that face-to-face connection or contact. If you want to ask them questions about what they are selling. But the tour gives you the actual taste and flavor of the market. And like you said, the work is done for you, so to speak, and so you're seeing, some of the well-known products, and then also some lesser-known products, and then giving you kind of a map, so to speak, of the place so that you can go back. And if you want to have more of a connection, you can. But for me, once again, and also, go hungry because it's a great way to eat.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
But there is a history to farmers markets and how they came to be. And the primary purpose of the farmers market was to get rid of the middleman.
Right.
So the produce would be fresh for the consumer, timely, and the price wouldn't be as high because you didn't have to pay the middleman. And this particular market is one of those on the list of the top 10 who made this happen.
Correct.
In the 1900s. And I think that's amazing.
Hard to believe.
But it's amazing. They just went, the people went, no. And it started with onions. We met, remember in Newman, Lisa, the guy who grew onions, talked about this. That onions were the thing that got so priced out, just like the prices were so bad.
Right.
Yeah. I find that, over an onion, a whole movement started over, I don't want to pay that much for an onion.
Absolutely, without a doubt. And it just, to me, it just makes sense. I just like that whole local angle wherever I am in the country. I love it. If there's a farmer's market, I'll be there just to see what's local, and it's just a great way to engage with people that are right there in that area. This market, as you mentioned with the history, is really, it has that distinction of being the longest continuously operating farmers market in the country.
Awesome.
And
Wow.
it's just, to me, that's just a great distinction that it's continued to operate for like a century, I think it's been. And it's this. And it's more than just a market. I mean, people think, and I did too for years, I thought that, this is just the market. And I didn't realize that it's 9 acres. It's a historic site.
Wow.
And it's 9 acres and includes, it is its own community of its own kind. It's a neighborhood. It's got not only the farmers and the craftspeople, but the small businesses, but it has residents and people who live there. And it does a lot of good for the people that live there, the affordable housing, low-income housing, services for seniors, disabled, homeless populations. There's a senior center itself. I saw the little preschool that's there, child care center. They have a actual medical clinic and a food bank. I mean, there is so much going on there that people don't realize that when they come, they just think, it's just all about, the little market area. And they don't think, no, it's a whole community of its own.
It's amazing. And then it's also taking care of the arts too, because you were talking about that there's a crafts market and it being one of the largest of its kind in the country.
Yes.
Wow.
And it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And there's a lot of talented artisans out there. And so if you want something locally made, something unique, not something you're going to find in a department store, that's the place to go to.
So for everyone thinking about holiday shopping, I'm just saying we're getting towards that time. This would be a cool place to go.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. You can find everything, woodworking, jewelry, metalwork, ceramics, fabrics, wearables, everything, art, anything in that respect. I found
chocolate.
When I lived in the Seattle area, I just found that that was a great place. That was my to-go place when I would want to shop for holidays or shop for, special gifts for people, who are out of town or coming to town. But it was always fun to go there. And of course, I had to pick up something for myself as well.
Well, yeah.
When you go there, I wanted to touch on this too. First thing, is this year round because it's indoors, right? Because something, we see as we travel the country, farmers markets, we love to go to them as well. And if I can just eat some produce because, we're on the road all the time and your body wants that produce. It's like, you need to eat that. But when you're traveling, is this open like year round? Because a lot of the farmers markets are seasonal. So is it open year round because it's got cheese and fish and chocolate? I would say it
Right.
would be.
It's open year round, and it's not only, people think also that it's only the indoor covered structure that is like multi-floored kind of thing, but no, it's all these small little businesses that are outside and around in this 9-acre area, basically across the street, around the block, all over the place. So it's not only the actual historic buildings that everyone thinks the market is, but it's all in that whole area. And yes, it's year round, and you will get what is seasonal year round.
That's
Cool.
awesome.
Walk and
That's
shop. I like
so
it. Walk
when
and
you go
shop.
there, you're talking about all the different layers. Is this something where for the first timer, I'm thinking you're going to Seattle, it's a city, right? You're like, how do you park? How do you get through this whole thing? You want to go to this, iconic destination, overwhelm, like getting there. So that's another thing about,
No,
going with Show Me
it's
Seattle. That could
right.
probably be a
And
good idea.
there's plenty of parking all within the whole area, and you just park and you walk over to the market. And
Oh, cool.
with the tour, you just meet the guide at a designated place, and it's just a couple hours, and it's just great. You're walking and you're sampling. What I also like too, and I think I mentioned in the article in the beginning, is that I love grazing, and so it's nice to take little samples of things instead of like maybe sitting down for a full meal and only get to eat what you've ordered. But you see a menu of things and you're like, I'd like all of this, or I'd like to just try little bites of it, and that's what you get the opportunity to do. And in this case, it's like, I think it's like 10 samples or 10 vendors and businesses that you get to sample, and it's a great variety, from sweet to savory kind of thing. And to me it's a wonderful way to just get a sampling of Pacific Northwest, iconic food.
Well, I like your use of the word grazing.
Yeah, because listen, you're a fire monkey, and monkeys don't graze, but they do want the little sampling. I'm going to have a berry over here, a piece of fish over there. So I'm just saying, it's
I
kind of,
got visuals.
I
I'm like,
know,
there goes Debbie. Boom,
she's
boom,
a
boom,
fire
boom,
monkey,
boom.
and she wants to nibble on things throughout the day, which
She's
monkeys
grazing
do.
through the whole
But
market.
you
Look
don't
out.
graze. I don't see you grazing with your head down. I do see
Yeah,
you
nah.
like grabbing something and going into a corner going, I got the berries,
That's
I
so
got the
funny.
cherries. Oh, speaking of which, cherries, apparently you enjoyed some cherry wonder, over there.
Yes,
Cherries and
absolutely.
berries.
The chucker cherries. I think it's chucker
Chucker.
cherries. Chucker. They are pretty well known in Washington State, and so yeah, you got these like little samples. The cherries. The fruit is grown on a farm. They dry it. They coat it in this wonderful things. Chocolate and all different kinds of essences, and so you get like a couple of samples, and it's once again, I just love that fact. I'm not just buying one thing and having to eat one thing. I'm getting to sample all of them, and then I can go back later and say, I loved those cherry blossom ones. Can I, I want a bag of them or whatever. And the same thing with any of the stuff is like you can go back, and they often give you, you can get these. They give you on the tour. They give you like like a discount card that you can go back to these vendors and get buy stuff at a discount, which I think is wonderful. It's a great idea for the merchants.
And how many people go on the tour, like typically?
Oh, it's I think they limited, I believe on our tour there was 10 people. So
Nice.
and
Wow.
we were told we needed to wear masks unless we were
Yeah, of
eating,
course.
so and we were spaced out, and so yeah, and like we didn't have to like stand in lines, like you mentioned before. You don't need to stand in lines and deal with a lot of people waiting. You are off a little bit off to the side, and the guide gets the tray of samples and comes over and gives them out to you, and then at the same time is explaining about the business and any other facts in regards to the market. That so it's it's a nice narration along the way, and it's nicely spaced too, which I really liked. And I like the idea of walking as well. If I'm eating, I enjoy walking.
Yeah, I think so. Well, you're a monkey. You might swing from stall to stall. But,
Well,
listen, I know that you love fish, and Nancy and I,
Ah,
so I'm reading this going, I know she's
yes.
digging this, and all I can think of, she's eating all these
Can't
things
do
that
it.
may taste like chicken, but probably not. So you got chowders, you got all kinds of things going on. So I mean, because it's you've got like what, fried fish, like you could get fish and chips there, I bet,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, oh my
Totally.
God, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's the home of that. It's just, I mean, if you are a quote unquote pescatarian or love seafood, this is really the place for you. I mean, that's,
Hmm.
that smoked salmon, and there's just, halibut and shrimp and crab and scallops and on and on and on. You can go nuts with the fish. So I was in fish heaven, seafood heaven.
But then,
Do you think you might have been a mermaid in another life?
yeah, well, because you're pescatarian, right? But you do,
Oh,
you know,
absolutely,
once in a while and
absolutely.
have beef or a steak or
Yep,
you
yep,
you
nope,
have to
yep,
stretch beyond when you're a travel writer. But
yep.
you met the Truffle Queen basically, and this is
Yes.
interesting because
Mm,
so this is what's interesting. So you could have a global like taste adventure, right? But
yes.
it's done on a local level with them doing what they want to do with like truffles from Italy and
Right.
you know.
Right. Right.
And it's a port
The
town
truffle.
too, so yeah, makes sense.
It's yeah. There was so much variety, but I do want to mention that if you didn't eat meat like red meat or whatever, and you wanted
Hmm.
just fish, you let them know ahead of time, and they prepare. The vendor will have something special for you. So if you have allergies
Hmm.
or gluten sensitivity or
Oh, good.
dietary preferences, you indicate them ahead of time, and then they will let those merchants and vendors know, and they will do it accordingly, unless it's something, unless you're totally going to a place that only is, beef oriented or something like that. But, every place you could always get an option if, in fact, you did not, want to eat meat or whatever it is, the
Oh, great to
dietary
know.
situation.
So if
Yeah,
I say
yeah.
to them, I'm a chocoholic, but no, but Nancy and I are allergic to fish. And so we stay away from
Yeah,
anything to do with the water, period. We just in,
right.
and
Well,
so to me, that is great when you can go on a food tour and you can say, okay, I know we're
I
going
can't do
to,
this, but I can
yeah,
do
but I
that.
could do
Yep,
that. And I don't mind
yep,
sitting out too, just knowing and hearing what everybody else has to say,
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
awesome.
And there's always, I mean, there's probably always an option, or most always, that you could get vegetables. You know what I mean?
Or they'll
So,
give us a
Sure.
margarita,
But
Nancy.
well,
well, here's the thing, to be honest, sometimes because I have had fish and never had a problem, and then suddenly I did have a problem, but then again I didn't have a problem,
right,
and one
right,
and a doctor just said stop it because it is like a, a disaster waiting to happen. So it's like just don't go there, and it's true,
right, right.
because
And I
and so
mean,
I don't know what it is. And he was talking about amino acids and blah,
Mhm.
blah, blah. And I don't know when you go to a restaurant and you're going to have fish, well, what's the amino acid makeup of
Oh,
the
don't
fish?
mess with the restaurant.
Exactly. So we just like, okay, we're just not going to do it. It's safer
sure,
not to.
Yeah,
But
right,
it
right.
doesn't mean we dislike fish at all.
no.
It's just what
Right,
it
right.
is.
Well, I think you also have to understand, and too, it's like many people, they're like, well, when in Rome, we'll do as the Romans do. So it's like,
Right.
well,
Yes.
in
Mhm.
Maine, I'm going to have a lobster roll. You know what I mean? Or, it's
Yeah,
like wherever it
exactly.
is,
What
so that's kind of the
what does
way it
it
is.
taste
But
like? That's what I want to know what the big deal is. Like, okay, so let's go. Let's go. You went to the Pure Food Fish Market and had smoked salmon. So like describe to me what smoked salmon tastes like, because I
Oh.
can't
oh,
because to
well,
me all
you
I
know
hear
what?
fish all
The
sounds to me like it's going to be like chicken. So
No, no. I mean,
see?
No,
fish.
not at
If
all.
you understand
Not at
fish,
all.
every fish has a different type of flavor, and some
Mhm.
are, stronger than others. Some are flakier than others. Some are mild.
Yeah.
Some are, and so the fish itself is one thing, and there is a flavor that's associated and a texture that's associated with a particular fish.
Yeah.
But then when it's smoked, you know what a smoker is,
Mm.
you know, so
Mhm.
it goes in alderwood, you know, like an alderwood smoked, you know,
Mm.
like we do alderwood chips on a barbecue or something, you know, that infuse it with that type of, you know, or whether it's mesquite, you know, flavored or
That sounds
whatever.
good
So
already.
so you can do that
I
with
want bacon now.
fish. You can do that with meat. You can do that with fish. You do it with chicken. You know, you
Yeah,
do it with
exactly.
anything. And so, you know, this was just this market is one of the best, I think, in the area, and you
Mm.
know, it's a wonderful way to try it if you've never had it. In our group, there was a couple that had never ever, you know, had salmon before, and let alone
Really?
smoked salmon. And yeah, they just
Wow.
didn't have it. I believe they came from the south, and they just never had salmon, and never really were
Wow.
maybe interested in it. And here they are. They tried it, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, this is like amazing," you know. And
Wow.
you know, they were
Ah,
planning to go back and buy some, you know, for the road, so to speak. You know, so
That's awesome.
oh,
That's
wow.
but that talks about regional cuisine because the South you're getting
right.
catfish, you know, you're
Yes.
getting all these other, you know, lobster,
Yeah.
you know, all of that,
Mm.
like crawfish,
Absolutely.
you know, so there's a
Absolutely.
whole other thing. You know, I can talk about it, can't taste it, but I can talk about it. But that's what's interesting. And the other thing to me, what's cool is like you got you chowders, and so that's not something you're going to get in the South right now. When we're talking with
Right.
you, we're in, you know, Johnson City, Tennessee. Are we going to get a chowder?
Right.
Maybe, I don't know. Um, but it seems to me more of like New England or like up in the Pacific Northwest that you get a chowder.
Yes, and you know, it specializes, and there's, you know, different styles, and you can get oyster
Mhm.
chowder, crab chowder, smoked salmon chowder, and there's even for the vegans I mentioned there's a lime and coconut chowder, you know, and
Oh,
so it's
you
like,
put the lime
yeah,
in the coconut. Cool.
exactly. And you know, the place we went to, which was Pike-Place Chowder, is like award winning, and it's really well known. And there's always a line out the door. And that was another thing. It was nice to be able not to have to stand in line and wait, because our guy just went and got the little samples and brought them over, and we're like, oh yum, and we're watching people in line waiting, you know. So
Yeah.
Wow. It's a
Cool.
Seatown Market and Fish Fry. So that's a big deal because it's owned by what, Tom Douglas.
yes, yeah, and anybody who's been to Seattle or lives in Seattle knows Tom Douglas, because he has so many restaurants in town and is very noted. He's a James Beard Award winner, and you know,
Awesome.
he has a couple of restaurants in the market area, and this one is, I believe, his newest. But we had the you know, the fish fry, which was so good. You know, it was hot off that whatever grill
Mm.
oven, whatever. It was just really good. And then the other one that is well known there is probably one of the best known places is the Piroshki place, which is
Cool.
this wonderful slice of Russia in the Pacific Northwest. And you know, there's so many different kinds of piroshkis, and there's always, and I'm saying always, a line out that door, and the aroma is so amazing, and people come from all
Mm.
over, and they're like, what's that? What? Where is that smell coming from?
Cool.
I want to go there because that's my kind of food. I think that's our Hungarian
Oh.
background in a weird way. Like it just there's or just from your yeah, I want to go there and I want curry and rice in it. I do.
Yeah,
Yes.
curry and rice is the
I want
best.
that. And because the last time I had a pierogi was in San Francisco. We were like
Yeah.
in some
Mhm.
neighborhood
Oh.
and it was, and we
Mhm.
kept going back where our hotel, this was
Oh
years
Yeah,
goodness.
I
and years ago,
know.
and our hotel was closed. And I remember we bought a little thing of vodka there too. They had
Yeah.
pierogies and
And we
vodka.
kept going back
And
and can
there
we
was
just
some of
sit
that
here?
went in there and they had a fight with the guy who ran the pierogi place over
Yeah.
$20. And we
Oh
stood
my
back and
gosh.
went, well, this is fun. Let's watch. It was great.
Mhm.
See, you got Russian there, but you also had Mexican street food at Los
That was
Agaves. So, but
cool.
this
Yes,
is like the old
Mexican.
yay.
Yep,
Because I
Mexican
always get worried
street
about getting
food.
out of the Southwest and not having Mexican food. I get panicky.
Well, you know, I mean, you know, people are all over the United States that, you know, have roots and heritage in Mexico,
Mhm.
and you know, they bring their wonderful
Absolutely.
heritage to wherever they
Yeah.
live, which is wonderful for the people who live there. You know, the fact that you know, you can have that flavor, somewhere where it's not indicative of it yet. But you have somebody that's carrying on that tradition, So that's great. And then the one that you would probably love, since you love chocolate, is the indie chocolates, which is, oh my gosh, talk about an aroma there. It's like, oh, whoa. And they do not only just chocolate things, but chocolate or cacao based products, so you can get the teas, you can get soaps, lotions, things made with cacao. So yeah, that was heavenly, especially those cookies that came right off the tray.
I want chocolate soap.
Yes.
Oh yeah, well, it's good for you. It's good. Chocolate's good for you. You also Three Girls Bakery. I'd actually heard about them before. I've heard about.
Okay.
This is they've made a mark somewhere, but you wrote about them. You wouldn't have apple strudel, and I'm like, okay, I'm jealous.
God.
Like you start this off your article off with them. I'm like,
yes, way to start a tour. You got it's like. I remember that movie. What was it with Tom Cruise? It was like you had me at hello or something, and it's like, no, you had me at the apple strudel from the Three Girls Bakery. So
wow. So this was the first business license to women in the city of Seattle. In your article, you were talking about that. We got to give girl power out there.
Yes, 1912. 1912. Yeah.
Wow. I love it. But I mean, this is a big deal in getting bakery, and it's interesting how the culinary arts went for women in the kitchen to men being like, on Iron
Don't go there.
and making the big deal to now we're fighting for women back on the, women in wine, women in, it's like this really interesting, weird thing, but let's just all get along. And I think in the industry they do, from what I know,
they
it's
do.
like everybody has a beer and a wine at the end of the shift and it all moves on, But speaking of beer wine, but you had pineapple juice that was cold pressed. Now that's different.
Yeah, really, really, really
There's
nice.
no wine or beer in it, but
great. No,
rum.
It was called the place was Rojo, and they just specialize in these fresh juices that are cold pressed. And it's nice to get a little beverage along the way, and try something a little bit refreshing there. We were there definitely in the summertime, and so it was warm outside, and so that was really refreshing and a nice and it's a woman that began that business as well, and so another line that was out the door as well. So
I love this.
Be tempted to put a little rum.
Oh, Nancy would be doing that. That would be Nancy. That would be Nancy. No, but this so at the Pike-Place-Market. I want to call it Pikes, but Pike-Place-Market. So it's like a indoor flea market, right? Or like flea market / farmers market with restaurants and everything. So is the restaurant like a sit down thing, or are you at a stand?
It's actually okay. So it's just it's a food, art, stores that sell everything from, as I said, clothes to comic books to magic to everything. And then there are restaurants all over. So it's not only restaurants that are in the covered area of the market, but restaurants in the surrounding blocks that form the district or the market area. And so, so you can sit down at these restaurants, you can grab food to go. There's restaurants that have great views. I mean, you're right there, on the sound. So it's a very colorful, vibrant place. Where really so many wonderful activities happen, not only for tourists or visitors that come, but locals that love to go there. The flowers there are amazing. I used to go down and get flowers and bring them back for special occasions, and so it's really one of those places, and people stroll and they sit and people watch and they eat and they shop, and to me it's really the hub or the center or the lifeblood of Seattle.
It sounds European.
Yeah.
And in a way, it probably, I know being in Europe that the markets are such an integral part of a society, and this, I think we got that, from the European markets. I just remember the holiday markets the Christmas markets over in, Germany and Austria are just huge, and there's such a tradition over there,
They're losing him, not necessarily in Germany, but in as we change over into digital life, these things are going away, but I think they're also going to make a resurgence in that this is going to be where our commerce happens, where
I think so too. It's a connectivity thing. I think it's where people come together, and yeah, you can do so much on digital, but I think people crave to
touch
be
and feel and
someplace.
talk.
Well,
Yes.
there's interaction and there's touchy-feely. You
Yes.
can look at the product, you can pick it up, and you can smell it. Can't smell over the internet.
Yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? Especially when you're talking about food.
Yeah.
There's a limit to what you can do over the internet at this point in time. Maybe down the road they'll start, like, you're looking at the fish market and your computer will,
Smell.
waft you with fish smell.
Smell-o-vision.
But
Please
you know what
don't
it
do
is?
it.
It's to me,
Please
it's
don't.
when you go to a market, a farmer's market. It's really a feast
Yeah.
for the senses. It's
Yeah,
a
it is.
sensory experience, and we are all craving sensory experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got the color, you got the vibe. You
Yeah.
don't get the vibe on the internet because you're
No.
not in it. You're watching it from afar.
Right.
Does the market have live music ever? Like
Yes.
entertainment?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
very cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's
That's
people.
awesome.
There's the bus. The people that sit out and do whatever their
Busking
guitar or whatever. Yeah, they're busking, and they're throughout the whole Pike Place area.
Oh,
So yeah, it's true. And
that's
the
cool.
Pike Place, one of the most iconic symbols is the pink pig.
Yeah, what's with
And
the pig? We were going to
What's
ask
with
that
the
because of your
pig?
photos. Nancy and I were
because
going
you've
through them
got
today going,
yes,
what's with the pig? What's going
I
on?
love
yes,
the pig. I love the
pink
pig.
the pink pig is where you can make contributions to the whole what the market does, their services, and you can help the market in terms of helping the people that live there. You can help the preservation, and so
Cool.
the pig is a large piggy bank.
But it also goes back to some also
Cool.
Washington State history up in the San Juan Islands. It
Oh,
does with the
yep.
pig. And it's I'm going to get in trouble for saying, but it's the one island and the pig, and there was the English had the pig.
Yeah,
And,
and that's
Oh, yeah,
San
yeah.
Juan Island. Yep,
yes,
yep, yep,
San Juan
yep,
Islands, and the pig got out,
yep.
and then someone killed the pig, and you weren't
Right,
supposed to, because
right,
that was a
right.
symbol of peace. And then so there's
Yep.
history over that. So the pig,
But the pig is like a giant piggy bank. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like, and it's really iconic, and people go and they want their picture. They have their picture next to the pink pig. And it's just one of those things that's been there for years and years and years. But it is a place where people, if they want to, can make a charitable donation.
We like that. We like that. Thank you so much, Fire Monkey. Everybody, Debbie Stone is her name, really, not just Fire Monkey. Though she likes to graze as a monkey while she swings from stall to stall and restaurant to restaurant in Pike Place Market. Her article is up on blendradioandtv.com and will be featured in the upcoming issue of Eat, Drink, and Be Merry magazine. And of course, keep up with, go showmeseattle.com. That's the website to go and take this tour. I mean, she went to 10 different places on a tour and then had time to go and explore later and buy stuff, which is important. So that's
Of
good.
course.
Showmeseattle.com. And I love that you enjoyed it as
I love it.
once a local of the area that had, frequented the market so much, and to go back and then go on a tour and learn more. I think that's amazing. That's kudos to the tour company because, if you're
Yeah,
a local
awesome.
and
Absolutely.
learn something new, that's a good sign. So everyone, keep up with us at bigblendradio.com. We air Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And if you sign up for our newsletter, you'll get our magazines in your email box. So thank you so much, Fire Monkey. We can't wait for your next destination, which I believe is going to be the Chicago Garden.
Wonderful. Nice talking with you,
Awesome.
ladies.
Take care.
Take care.